Okay, here we go. All right. So for the first one, all you need is a bolster. And then if you have one of your blankets, you can stack one of your blankets. Make sure you fold it tri-fold. So don't just like fold it in half, but actually like do a tri-fold, or even like quadruple would be good. Just so you can get it as tall as possible. And then one of them is going to go down, the other blanket, or maybe even a pillow is going to go down at the end. So we want to get as much height as we can up here. So Jesse, you'll stack like your two pillows and then you'll put a blanket on top. And then you could even go without a blanket at the bottom and just stack everything you have here. It's up to you. But this is just extra. And we're going to start face down, Adho Mukha Shavasana. And right leg is going to stay straight. We want to have the bolster up to the lower ribs. And then the left knee is going to come up. So we're opening the hips here. We're not necessarily, on our right side of our hip. We're trying to get the pelvis as flat as possible. And then we're going to use the bolster for supports. Bring your hands up. They can even go under the bolster a little bit for extra comfort. And then the right cheek is going to lie down on the bolster. So this blanket back here is just to support the foot. If you would rather have more height up here, then use that blanket for the height. And make any last adjustments. And even as you're lying here, you can kind of pay attention to what's happening with the breath. Just coming to the mat, putting yourself in this pose. Just take a few minutes to breathe. You can feel the belly on your supports. So be sure you're inflating the belly and the chest with air. And then exhaling, just feeling that physical touch with the breath. Consciously allow the shoulders and the arms to relax. And then notice if you have any gripping in the hip area. See if you can soften in the pelvis. And release the hip joints towards the floor. And just begin to unravel in this pose. And if your mind is having a hard time quieting down, just come back to the breath. Begin to deepen the breath. Bringing yourself back to the present moment. Back to the mat. And after another breath or two, very slowly begin to move so your palms are pressing the floor and supporting you as you bring yourself up. And switching to the other leg. Switching cheeks, so now the right leg is out, you're on your right cheek. Bringing your hands together up just underneath your support to allow complete release of the shoulders. And bringing that right knee up as high as you like. Softening the muscles in the face. Releasing the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And softening the jaw and the throat. Feeling supported. And the hips unraveling. Begin to deepen the breath. Bringing your awareness back to the mat. Bringing the palms to the mat. And very slowly pressing up. Let the head stay heavy. Take your time. Be mindful. And our next posture is going to be a twist. So if you have a bolster or take your pillows, set it up long-wise first. And then be sure that your blankets are triple folded and try to get as much height as you can on top of the bolster with your blankets. Let me move this back just a little bit. There we go. All right, so we just have a nice tall, really tall bolster. And Barbara, you can even stack both of your bolsters. That might work too. It might be a little bit too high, but we can try it. And then you're gonna take your strap and be sure it's looped. And have it, pretty long, pretty wide, pretty big circle, all right? And then you're gonna wanna have support for your head. So, Jesse, I don't know, do you have an extra something that you can put on your head since you're stacking your other things? It's not 100% necessary, but even your block, something that you can put on under your head. And then your right leg is gonna stay straight. You're gonna have the bolster up against your hip. You're gonna lie down. You're gonna put the strap around your left thigh, knee is bent, and then you're gonna roll onto your right hip so that your leg is resting on your bolster. Okay, so now you're gonna put your right arm through the strap, and then you're gonna have goddess arms to try to get that left shoulder heavy to the mat. And so it's gonna feel like you're gonna wanna support your leg, but just let the leg go. Just let it go. Adjust your bolsters as needed. And what this should feel like, you should feel opening in the left hip, and you should feel like you can let your leg go. So adjust it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna come over and see. Jesse, give me a thumbs up if yours is good. Okay.
Which leg on the bolster?
So it's going to be on your right hip. And so your right leg will be straight and your left knee will be bent coming over onto the bolster. Put the strap around, yep. It'll go on the thigh. And then kind of tip over on your right hip so that the left leg can rest on the bolster. And then the strap is going to go on to your right arm, the bicep area. And then you'll end up with goalpost arms, so let the left shoulder come down and adjust the bolster as needed so that you feel like you can let go of the leg. Is this comfortable for you?
What is it supposed to do?
You're just supposed to be able, it's just an extra support for the leg so you can be in the twist and feel like you don't have to hold on muscularly. Is your left leg on top of the bolster?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like you can lie here for a good amount of time? Okay. So go ahead and close the eyes and begin to come back to that conscious relaxation. Letting the strap support the leg and the arm. And feeling the left hip completely open. Without any effort on your part, letting gravity do everything. And your job is to just completely surrender to gravity. Bring your awareness back to your breath. And decide when your body is ready to move slowly. Releasing the strap from the arm and then straightening the leg. Maybe even taking a stretch before we get ready to do the other side. So same thing on this side, but I'll demonstrate it again, just because I know it's a little bit more stuff, more tools we're using. So left leg will stay straight, but you are going to roll onto your left hip to be able to twist. Bring the strap around the right leg so that it's on the thigh. And then bring the left arm through so it's on the bicep, the upper part of the arm. And get comfortable so your top leg can rest on the blanket. And then come into your goddess arms. And so once you begin to relax into this pose, your right hip is going to roll a little bit, and that's where the strap comes in to hold on to the leg. So make any last minute adjustments. And finding rest and comfort in this posture. And then begin to soften the tongue, the jaw, the throat. Those areas that are connected to the organs in the abdominal area. So those can soften too. And that way you can get the most benefit out of this restorative twist. Giving the organs a massage and keeping them happy. Helping the lower back release. Begin to sink deeper into the posture. And then return to the breath. Bring your awareness back to the breath. And then when you're ready, very slowly begin to unravel out of this posture, releasing the arm, straightening the leg with as little movement as possible. Take a long stretch. And then roll onto your side to prepare for our next pose. So this one we're going to do Baddha Konasana, which is where we bring the soles of the feet together. But instead of elevating the spine, we're going to elevate the tailbone up. So we want our bolster or pillows to be stacked longwise. And then if your blankets are still tri-folded, you're gonna undo them and fold them in half. And actually, we're not, okay. So Barbara, you can stack both of your bolsters. I'm gonna put my pillows. And then the blankets you're going to want to have half on, half off. So I have my blanket a little bit bigger for this one. And you want some of it to be off of the bolster and some of it on. Okay. Do the same thing with the second one. So it's going to be a little bit bigger of a blanket. Put it right on top, do the same thing. And then with the end of your blanket, you're going to just fold it up a little bit at the end for more support. Jesse, I know that you don't have a strap like this, but we're going to try it. It might be a little bit tricky to use this for your Baddha Konasana, but just try it. So put the strap around your thighs or your hip creases, and then bring the butt all the way up to the support, okay? Just get up there as high as you can. And then the soles of the feet will come together. And we want to put the strap around the feet. Hold on a second. Around the waist, not around the thighs. I'm like, what is wrong here? I've done this a million times. Okay, so around the waist, and then hook it around the feet. And then your feet will hang open, but like I here need to scoot a little bit closer. So just get as high up there as you can. I like to do things the more difficult way. All right. There we go. So your tailbone is supported, your legs are supported, hanging open. And if you want to if you have an extra blanket for neck support or a block, you can go ahead and do that. I'm gonna leave my head flat. And then your hands can either be on the belly resting, or they can be along the sides of the body. If you have, extra pillows or something for hand support, you could put that underneath the hands. Okay. Do you have any questions? This one will be a nice change from, instead of having the spine supported, the legs can just open up. Good. Yeah, and it feels great if you have that butt all the way up supported with a blanket. So make any last minute adjustments. Decide where the hands are most rested. And begin to settle into the pose. Let the feet, the legs fall into the strap. The strap is there to support you. And if at any time this gets uncomfortable before we move out of it, you can just close the legs and straighten them. Begin to soften with each exhale. In this hip heaven. And even imagine any, any emotion or trials that you've gone through this week. It doesn't have to be stuff in the past, it could be just from the day. Just kind of imagine that releasing from the body as you allow the gripping to release. Bring your awareness back to the breath, back to the present moment, back to your mat. Take another breath or two, and then use the hands to gently press the knees back together. Unraveling from the strap, maybe straightening the legs. Doing what your body needs here before we move on. So for the next one, we're going to do a psoas release. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but you can put the blanket, let's see. You're going to need a block and a strap. The bolster can go off to the side. The pillows can go off to the side. You can put, just if your spine needs it, you can put extra cushion, put a blanket down on the mat for extra cushion. And then the other one is going to be for neck support. So just open it up a little bit, roll it at the end, and then put that at the top of the mat for your neck. The strap is going to go around the thighs. And what we're going to do here is place the block between the thighs. So it's going to be longwise between the thighs here. Separate the feet a little bit wider than the knees. And then we're going to tighten the strap. This will be the most difficult part, tightening the strap. So really squeeze the block and squeeze your legs into the block to get the strap as tight as possible, because you don't want the block to fall. You don't want to feel like you need to hold on to the block. Once you have it as tight as you can get it, go ahead and get your neck support. And you're gonna have to probably take a minute or two just to adjust where the feet are most comfortable, where the knees are gonna be the most comfortable being bent. You might have to separate the feet a little bit more. As long as you're able to rest the legs and not hold on to the block, let the strap do that. And then you can put your hands on your belly. Close the eyes. And the reason the block and the strap are there is so we can completely release any muscular action with the psoas, that deep muscle that's responsible for keeping the upper and the bottom half of our bodies together. It's the reason why we walk upright, but it holds deep emotional things. So it's a big muscle, so it tenses up every time we get scared or sad. It's the muscle that helps us get into the fetal position. So it holds on to a lot. So even as you're lying here, feeling as though you're not gripping, make a conscious effort to bring your awareness to the hips, the lower back and the hips, and see if you can exhale and soften deeper. Each time you exhale, make that effort to release deeper. Keeping your awareness on the breath and the release. Return to the breath. Slowly moving out of this pose as you need to. So you can either straighten the legs, remove the block, or roll onto your side to sit up and remove the block. But take a moment before we move into Shavasana to move the legs around, again, stretch, maybe even hug the knees, whatever your body's asking for. And then when you are ready, roll onto your side to sit back up, and we can prepare for our last pose. You can keep the neck support. So just keep that rolled up at the end of your mat. The block can be put off to the side. Your mat that you had lying down, or your blanket that you had lying down, you can have two options for it. We're either going to use it to put on top of the ankles when, at the end of the pose, just to put some extra grounding weight on the feet. Or maybe you even have an extra blanket you can cover up with, or use this one to cover up with. It's your choice. You might be able to do both. But what we're going to do to start off is put the bolster or pillows longwise. You can even, Barbara, you can stack both bolsters. Jesse, you'll put your pillows. And then if you want some more height, you can even possibly put one more of your blankets on here and just go with no neck support. So decide how high you want to go with the legs here. The strap, we're going to use one more time. So the strap will go around the shins this time, and we're going to strap the shins together. And then the legs will just be supported longwise. It could be, starting from the knees, starting from the thighs. You decide where you're comfortable. And then if you're using a blanket for that extra grounding, you're going to just set it on the ankles and kind of push down on it. And then you're going to lie down on your back. If you have extra something or another to support, your hands, you can do that. You can just keep the hands on the mat. But the strap on the legs is just going to allow the legs to release without falling off the pillows. So you don't have to worry about using any muscles in the legs. And once you arrive, begin to settle into the pose. And as you lie here and breathe, just feel the air touching the nostrils as you inhale, the cool air touching the nostrils as you breathe in. Knowing the body's warming up the air, and you can even separate the lips on the exhale. Doing that 2 or 3 more times. And then as you begin to have that regular passive breath with the lips closed, breathing in and out through the nose, still feel the air as it enters the body. Feel the breath touching the nostrils, the back of the throat, and giving nourishment to the body. Imagine it reaching to the fingertips, to the top of the head, down the legs into the toes. Nourishing oxygen to every cell of the body. As you lie here and observe. Slowly begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, waking the body. And doing what feels good here, whether that's hugging the knees or taking a stretch before rolling onto your right side. This weekend, we've been talking a lot about gratitude in our classes. So I wanted to read this to you. This quote is by Cherie Carter Scott. If your eyes and ears are open, you will see the windows of opportunity all around you. Take another breath or two. And then slowly push yourself up into a seated position. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Thank you for letting me guide you this evening. The teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher in you. Namaste. Thank you, ladies. I'm just going to hang out here for a minute if you have any questions or anything, and you can just leave when you want.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessie. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jen.
How do you feel?
Listen, I look forward to this on Sunday nights. I really do.
Yeah, it's a good way to end the weekend, start the week. So I'm glad you enjoy it.
And it's funny because I do a yoga class on Sunday mornings too. So it's, and I almost didn't do it this morning because I was just not in the mood. And I was like, nope, get there. And